I sent my daughter to Auschwitz, one of my daughters, to take the tour. She's in front of one of the 42 ovens. Her name's Melissa. She'll be in here later. And she videotaped everything. She told me what she learned. She showed me the pamphlets. That one summer, she visited 3 death camps in Poland. Okay, what she learned that it doesn't say in any history book is the water was almost boiling. The people are screaming, they're flipping out. The reason the Germans want the people to take a very hot shower like that is because hot water opens up the pores in your skin, and the next room they're going to go into the gas chamber and they're going to use Zyklon B gas. It'll penetrate your body faster and you die faster, and that's what the Germans wanted. Okay, now the side door would open. The people are trampling over everybody. They think they're getting out, but they're going right into the gas chamber. That door would close. Up on the roof, on a normal gas chamber back then, every 12 to 14 feet, there'd be a 7 to 8 inch cast iron round pipe going through the roof. There'd be Germans on top of the roof, and they'd be dumping the little white pellets from the Zyklon B gas canisters through the pipe. As soon as those pellets hit the atmosphere, they vaporize. Right after you breathe the vapor, you have like no more than 3 minutes to live. Cardiac arrest, you get a heart attack, or your lungs collapse. In these 3 cabinets, 1, 2, 3, I have 58 cans of these Zyklon B gas canisters, never opened. This is the real deal. You'll probably never see this at another museum. Get it? They probably won't allow it. They probably can't even get it. See the back of it? Never opened. No gimmicks. This is the real deal. See that?
That won't hurt you. See?
Tell these people what these are worth.
Oh, unopened, if you can even find them, unopened, over $3,000 a can.
Some of these other ones opened or used? Oh, none of them are.
They're all full, every one of them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Keep some
Hey,
gas
you smell it?
No, I don't want to smell it.
No, thank you. They took off.
Yeah.
That
Oh,
makes
wow.
it
brand new.
Okay. Okay. You're probably wondering how come I'm allowed to have this?
Yeah.
The FBI, the Sheriff Department, ATF, they know everything I have.
Yeah.
Okay, the reason I'm allowed to have this, you couldn't have this. The FBI will be waiting for you when you get home.
Yeah.
Okay, I'm a legal museum with the 501-C3 nonprofit status, and I'm teaching people about military history, and for now, I can have it. And this is one reason I never really go on any vacations. Because by the time the cops get here from the bagel shop, half my stuff will be gone.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they don't like donuts anymore. I like kidding around a lot. Okay, now you got 250 to 300 people laying on top of each other. The Germans are too proud to go in there and pull the bodies out. So they got these teenagers they use as slaves, and they gave them these claws. I got 2 of them now. The serial number on this one is 324. See, 324, what a memory. Yeah, see that? It's called the claw. Okay, they go in the gas chamber. They put this around the corpse's wrist or ankle. See, it locks? It just locked. They pull the body out of the gas chamber. They'd hit this middle trigger. See, it's got a middle trigger, and that would release the body. Outside the gas chamber, there'd be a whole squad of slaves, and they'd have pliers, wooden dowels, and wooden wedges to keep the corpse's mouth open. And what they're looking for is gold teeth. Okay, this is from Auschwitz. Look at all the gold teeth. These are wedding bands. See that? Okay, right after that, they'd go on a rail system, and it'll take them right to the incinerator. In Auschwitz alone, 7 days a week, in one day, 24 hours, they were burning and killing right around 4,000 people for 10 years. It's amazing they got away with it for so long. Yep, unbelievable. If you were lucky enough to wear one of those armbands and work in a factory and make like ammunition for the Germans, you would have got a passport book. See the passport books? Yeah. Okay, let me show you. It's pretty interesting. Okay, here's the passport book. This is from the citizen. This is from the soldier. Okay, what I want to show you is, see the approval stamp? It's half on the picture and half on the paper. This way you can't change the picture. See that? Yeah, the Germans were very smart.
It's very hard to...
Yeah, how are you going to fool them with the approval stamp? Okay, you ready for this? Okay, I got the approval stamp.
That's cool.
I paid $1,000 for this, so it better be here when the last guy leaves. Yeah, luckily we don't have any bikers here today. There you go. The approval stamp. So if you get a new car, you're buying a house, you need the paperwork stamped. I have it. Okay. Okay. Oh yeah. Let's see what else I can show you. And let me tell you about some real bad people. There was a lot of them. These are the top guys. Hermann Göring. He was in charge of the Luftwaffe. He was Hitler's right-hand man. See that? They did catch him. They were going to hang him, but he got a hold of cyanide and killed himself. Did you know that? Mm-hmm. Yeah. They should have hung him anyway. Yeah. Okay. This guy here. Joseph Goebbels. Right after Hitler killed himself. One day after Hitler killed himself, April 30th, 1945, Joseph Goebbels was supposed to be in charge. He didn't want any part of it. He killed his 6 kids, his wife, and himself with cyanide. Nice guy. Okay, worst of them all, Heinrich Himmler. It was his idea for the final solution to kill all the Jews and all Hitler's enemies. He was one of the first 25 members to join the Nazi Party right after World War I in 1919. Before that, he was a little skinny nothing, a chicken farmer. That's right. Oh, you read the history books, huh? All right, you could work here.
You got the tour. I'm going home.
Okay. Okay. He's responsible for killing over 7 million people.
An unsuccessful chicken.
Okay. Okay. I'm going to show you something you'll never see at another museum. I got the cyanide I used to kill themselves. Oh, wow. Yeah. See, it says SS in the front. You can hardly read it. Yeah. Okay. They carry these little brass canisters somewhere in their uniform. The Japanese did the same thing. If they think they're going to get captured, tortured, don't want to reveal any military information, they just open this up, they bite the little glass vial, the cyanide would foam up your saliva, and you're dead within 3 minutes. What I want to show you is watch how perfect this comes out. And I've been doing this for 15 years.
Let's back up a little bit.
Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Watch this. It's about 1 inch long.
Wow.
Yeah, the tolerance is so close, you can't even measure it. It's called a vacuum fit.
Oh.
You see that? That's the real deal.
No, I have to break that vial.
Hey, open
that's
up.
glass. Okay. That's glass around that.
That's something. Watch how perfect.
That mentality is how they built rockets. So
Yeah.
they come up with just their attention to detail.
Years ago, I had 2 of these, but I had this girlfriend that clicked. It works really fast. Yep, you won't see this at another museum. Isn't that something?
That is amazing.
Yeah. Okay, you're probably looking at this bread basket all this time. That's what it is, a bread basket from Dachau. They had to feed the prisoners something. They fed them once in the morning, once a day, bread and water. And here's the bread truck in Dachau delivering the bread. Every picture in this room means something. You're learning a lot today.
Yeah.
Waves. I know a lot about Pearl Harbor. And then here's our 32nd president, Franklin D. Roosevelt, signing the Declaration of War December 8th, 1941, against Japan. I know a lot about Pearl Harbor because of this fella right here. His name was Pete. He was a Pearl Harbor survivor. He was my dad's best friend. He lived right down the block here. He helped me a real lot with the museum. Both of them passed away about 15 years ago. Pete's job in the Navy was a Navy photographer. When Pearl Harbor was being bombed, and he was on the USS Maryland and took 36 pictures. Before he passed away, he donated all the pictures to me. This is what the original pictures that he took look like. And slowly I've been having them all blown up. They're all around me on the floor, on the cabinets. These pictures aren't even in a history book. Unfortunately, 3,478 young civilians, Marines, and sailors died that one day. Here's one of my favorite pictures. I got to get this made bigger. See the airplane up in the air? You see that? Oh, yeah. Okay, that's a torpedo bomber. Okay, it's his job to come as close as he can to the ship and release the torpedoes. I said, Pete, weren't you afraid that the torpedo's going to hit the ship you're taking the pictures on? He goes, of course we were, but we all had a job to do that day. Yep. Yeah, very brave people back then. This is Pete about 3 or 4 months before he passed away. Look how old he got. See that? Him and my dad, they used to smoke over a pack of cigarettes every day. Unbelievable. Yep. Hey, you want to see Pete about 35 years ago? Hey, he looked a lot better.
Yeah, still.
Yeah, see that?
You look younger too.
Yeah. Well, I don't smoke. I don't drink. Work all the time. It keeps you healthy.
Yeah, it does.
Yeah, I'll never retire. What am I going to do if I retire? Watch cartoons?
Yeah. It won't be half as interesting, right?
Yeah, got to work.
Yeah.
Okay, so in this one room, I have 38 ceramite swords. The oldest one I have, worth the most money, is right here. It was valued about $16,000 over 20 years ago. It's over 600 years old. You take the wooden pegs off the handle, and the handle slides off. It's made out of wood. 75% of the 38 swords I have in this room have the family's name engraved in the metal, and a lot of them have the year it was made. It was an honor for the Japanese soldier to take the family ceramite sword into battle. They never, ever want to give up and disgrace their religion or their family's name. Most of them would carry these suicide knives. See, sharp as a razor. This one's got the family's name in it.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
See that? If they think they're going to get captured, tortured, don't want to reveal any military information, they take the sword out, they say a prayer, they say goodbye to their loved ones, and they get on their knees, they take both hands and push us right through their chest. Hopefully they hit the heart and they die right away. If they didn't have that, here's something you won't see at another museum. This is the original cyanide box that was handed out to the soldiers, the Japanese soldiers. Okay, and the bottles have Japanese writing on it, and the cyanide is still in the bottles. Wow. See, that's what that looks like.
Yeah.
See that? And it doesn't freeze in the winter. Mm-hmm. See that? Okay, this is cyanide in a bottle, not even half full, and that's enough to kill like 15 people. That's wax on the top. Okay, you ready for this? Here's the family pack. You see that? So I don't know if you lost your job about 8-9 months ago. They
hand them out to all your friends.
They already took away your new car. And let's see, what's tomorrow? Saturday? They're coming to take your house away. And to top it off, you found out your wife's been cheating for about 3 years. I'll sell you one $100. Cash. It's got to be cash.
It's got to be cash.
Yeah, before, not after. Okay, let me point out a couple more important things here. This is a Nambu Model 99 7.7 fully automatic machine gun that came back from Iwo Jima. In World War I and World War II, you could bring home anything you could carry. Nobody cared, nobody checked. But you had until May 8th, 1986 to register that war trophy with ATF and get paperwork. If you didn't do it by that date, you could never, ever get paperwork. I tried 50 times. They just want to confiscate whatever you have and destroy it. So luckily this guy had the paperwork, and 20 years ago I was able to buy it. Okay, Iwo Jima, February 19th to March 25th, 6,821 Marines died. It haunted this general the rest of his life. His name was Holland Smith. The reason it haunted him the rest of his life, because he's seen all those 17, 18, 19-year-old kids give up their life to take over a stupid island. But they had to take over the island because the B-29s were coming back from the bombing missions from Japan. And if they couldn't land on Iwo Jima runways, and they were running out of fuel, and landed somewhere in the Pacific Ocean, there was nobody to rescue them, and 3 times more of that amount of Americans would have perished. Wow. I read an article about 20-something years ago. The last Japanese soldier caught in the caves on that island, Iwo Jima, was like 3 years after the war was over. They didn't know the war was over. They just kept, hanging out. That's amazing. Okay, the atomic bomb, August 6, 1945, 3 days later, Nagasaki, 5 days later, August 14th, they surrendered to America. The final surrender was on the Missouri battleship with General MacArthur. That picture was taken right here on the right side of the bow. And then when Korea started, the conflict in Korea, 1950 to 53, President Truman put MacArthur in charge of that. This is every Nambu 6.5 caliber handgun in my museum, over 2,500 working weapons. We have any Vietnam veterans here? No? Any draft dodgers? Okay, the next room is Vietnam, 1959 to 75. Vietnam was cut at the 17th parallel. Bad guys Hanoi, good guys Saigon. Unfortunately, 58,272 young American soldiers didn't make it home alive. Luckily, I did. Here's a picture of Dragon Boy. Hey, what you're looking at now is before and after. See, pretty cute. Hey, a lot of girls after me. Yeah, see that? Now I'm not cute anymore. Now they're after my money. Yeah, see that? I got drafted, 18 years old. Unfortunately, I only took 4 pictures. I was on the M42 Dusters. My name is right there, MEL. I was on a 211 Deuce and a Half Ho Chi Minh Trail. And this is a letter in 1964. Me and 8 of my friends in 1 week got in the mail. We just got inducted. This is the draft notice. It tells you what time and where to report. And after that, from that day on, the government owns you. That's right. They tell you what to do, where to go, and whatever. Right? And tell you the truth, growing up in Brooklyn and going to the Bronx to school, that was a very tough neighborhood back then. I used to get beat up all the time. They used to take my lunch money. Every 2 weeks, they steal my bicycle. You know, and then when I grew up a little older, I used to beat up the young kids. You know, that's the way you grow up back then. Okay, what I'm getting at is all it took was 3 or 4 months in the Army, and they straightened me and my friends right out. And that's what they would have done to these young kids that are disrespecting the cops and shooting up the schools. I don't know if you know it, but Nixon stopped the draft 1972. He should have never done that. Yep. They should bring back the draft, load them all up on a C-130 airplane, and drop them off in Ukraine for basic training. Right? But, you know, Joe Biden's not going to do that. What's today, Friday? He's getting bicycle lessons.
Or ice cream, one of the two, yeah.
But 1 more month, hopefully, Trump gets reelected. You know, if the Democrats get in, I'm going to have to change my shirt. We'll probably be out of the gun business. They want to, like, outlaw everything. Stupid laws. So hopefully Trump gets in. In fact, one of my daughters is up in Denver right now at the rally. She got approved by the Secret Service, and she's going to be sending me pictures. I think he goes on a stage, she said, at 1 o'clock.
Yeah, he's up there.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yep. Okay. Okay, this was the hot gun in Vietnam. I have 4 of them now. It's called the M60 machine gun. They shoot the 308 round, a total of 550 a minute. It was replaced about 22, 23 years ago with the 240 and a 249. This is the way we had to dress in Vietnam. If you guys didn't know it, every day is 110, 115 degrees. At night, it cools down to 95 to 98. It rains every night, swamps all over the place. The snakes are 15 feet long. The mosquitoes are 1.5 inches and bigger. The worst place in the world to be. If I was a judge in the United States and somebody committed a very bad crime, I'd give him a blanket and a tent, send him to Vietnam for 6 months. And if he did come back, he'd be a whole different person. And if he didn't come back, who cares? Okay, this is one of my friends. Unfortunately, he passed away almost 20 years ago with Agent Orange. He was fighting cancer forever. His name was Larry. That's what he looked like. And he donated his uniform to my museum. And I always told him, I'll always tell people his name and show them the uniform. Okay, see how pretty the nurses were back then? That's why me and my friends, every other day, we had some kind of problem.
My ankle hurts. I got to see the nurse.
Okay, in 1965, they took away our M14s, and that's when this new plastic Mattel Toys R Us gun came out. Nobody liked it. That's the first time the U.S. government issued a plastic gun to a soldier. It's made out of Zytel plastic. The tolerances were so close for the first year, the bullets were getting stuck in the barrel. And then a lot of barrels were blowing up because the second barrel couldn't get out, bullet couldn't get out, and it just put a hole right in the barrel. A lot of kids lost their lives because of these malfunctioning. Everybody was always looking around for an AK-47. You pick up an AK-47 out of the swamps, out of the rice paddies, you wipe it down a little bit. 95% of the time, you just cock it, pull the trigger, and it works great. The reason is there's 4 to 6 thousandths of an inch clearance on all the moving parts for the dirt. You know, some of the guys, they were carrying 2 AK-47s, you know. Just about 80% of all the armies overseas, different countries, use AK-47s in their armies because they're so reliable. Anybody have any questions? And the Americans were led overseas with a very, very special 6-star general. If you guys didn't know it, there was only 3 6-star generals in military history: George Washington, Grant, and John Pershing, if you didn't know that. Okay, this is a trench gun, 1917 trench gun, 12 gauge with the 16-inch bayonet. This is the rarest patch I have. That's the first aviation patch, Army Air Corps. It wasn't called the Army Air Force until 1948. These are bolo knives. The oldest one I have is right here, 1903. The reason World War I and World War II stuff is so collectible, just about every country dated 98% of everything. They stopped doing that during Korea. This is Lieutenant Jim Butler's uniform. What makes Jim Butler special? Here's a picture of Jim Butler wearing this uniform in his Foot Locker 107 years ago.
Wow.
I was real lucky to get this Foot Locker from a family in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania. And this is the way his horse would have been set up in Europe. The saddle is called a McCullen saddle. Doesn't look too comfortable. This is the oldest canteen I have. Look at the date, 1905. This one's 1911. The saddle soap is dated 1917, 1918, and of course all the ammunition has a date on it. If you got shot, wounded, had to go to the hospital, this is what the nurses looked like. They weren't too pretty back then. What I want to show you is look how skinny everybody was, 100 years ago. In fact, every mannequin in this row here, I had to put on my jigsaw in my shop and give them a fast diet. Look at the uniform. This was for the 12-year-old.
Yeah, now.
Okay. World War I was mostly trench fighting. There'd be a trench 2.5, 3 miles long. Where the Nazi room is, it's not that far away. There'd be another trench 2 miles long, and they shoot back and forth, not for 2 or 3 weeks, but 2 or 3 months. And of course, they want to look over the trench, but they don't want to get their head blown off. So in 1917, the U.S. government came out with these trench binoculars, so they could look over the trench. These are periscopes. It is the British one, that's the French one. And they got mirrors in there. Hey, want to take a look?
This is too cool.
Yeah, see that? Okay, let me show you some of the weapons they used back then. Okay, this was the British caliber with 303. This is called an Enfield, bolt action 303. They used this right through World War I and World War II. Okay, the Germans, they used the K98 8mm. And they used this right through World War I and World War II. See, K98, made and designed in 1898. Okay, the Americans had the most powerful bullet, .30-06, and that was Springfield Armory in 1903. See that? They used this right through World War I, the beginning of World War II, until everybody was issued the M1 grant. And let me show you something else you guys probably don't know. See the 16-inch bayonet? In 1943, all these 16-inch bayonets were called back, and they cut 6 inches off it to 10 inches. They cut them all down. The 2 reasons is when you're fighting, see how long it is? It's harder to get around. And the second reason I read is because when this goes on your belt, you can't sit in the vehicle because the thing's hanging down to your knees. So they just snipped it down. There was no reason to have 16-inch bayonets back then. So that's pretty interesting, huh?
Yeah.
Okay, so World War I was over November 11th. That's when we have Veterans Day. But back then it was 1918. And all the men were heading back to the U.S. When they got back to the States, they were handed these honorable discharges dated 1918. People ask me, how come, did they have dishonorable discharges? They didn't. If you were very dishonorable back then, you wouldn't go to the stockade. They tie you to a tree and shoot you. The same thing they did in the American Revolutionary War and the Civil War. Pretty rough back then. The 12 months, the 1 year the Americans were overseas fighting the Germans, we lost 115,000 soldiers. It was a very bloody conflict, mostly hand-to-hand combat. Okay, I want to show you the oldest vehicle I have. The serial number is 147. It's a 1917 Dodge. They only made 1,000 of them.
Look this way, folks.
Take a picture of that. 1917 Dodge, serial number 147. In 1917, the U.S. government gave the Dodge brothers an order to make 1,000 of these. They were used as weapons carriers and troop carriers. I was real lucky to get one.
Now that you know where we've been, find out where we're going. Tune in to Ladies Love Politics, where you can stay informed without going insane.